Dark Patterns in Digital Ads by Corin Cartwright. What are dark patterns? Dark patterns are a form of digital manipulation that websites, companies, and ads use to make users make decisions they previously would not have made if they were not encouraged to do so. In the digital landscape, this is significant because dark patterns, especially in ads, encourage and trick users into giving away personal information and data. Another reason why this is significant to today's media landscape is because it is a commonly used tactic in ads by more sketchy individuals and businesses. Dark patterns violate consumer protection laws against deception under the Federal Trade Commission. These laws have been put in place due to the fact that when it comes to advertisement, you naturally assume as a consumer you are being given all the information available to you. With dark pattern ads, pardon me, they only give you a certain amount of information, so you make a decision or commitment without knowing the whole truth. You don't know truly what you are applying to, basically. So the two SPJ code of ethics that are violated by dark patterns are minimize harm and be accountable and transparent. Through minimizing harm, you're supposed to have the public's best interest in mind, minimize, potential harm, recognize legal information, provide and update information as you accumulate it. When it comes to dark patterns, it does none of this in advertisement because it's purposely trying to harm you. It is purposely trying to get your information. It is purposely breaking the law. It is purposely withholding information. And the same can be said for be accountable and transparent. As we know, being accountable and transparent is acknowledging your mistakes and explaining clarifications. It's abiding by the standard of everyone else around you, and dark patterns do not abide by the standards around them. They do not perform as well as or to that same standard of other ads. They do not clarify. They do not do corrections. Again, why does it matter in today's media landscape? First and foremost, it's a violation of trust. In today's media culture, you expect an ad to be advertising what it's truly like, the product that it is wanting to give you. It's similarly to how if you went up to a taco truck, you'd expect it to sell tacos, not give you a dirty boot it found off the street. This ties into content versus advertising. Ads are meant to appear like ads. That is what you expect out of it. You expect an ad to be like, hey, I'm selling this, or hey, I'm promoting this. You're like, okay, I'm here to hear you out. That is the point of an ad. Dark patterns turn ads into content. Content is what influences you. It's what you watch on TikTok. It's videos. It's things like that. It encourages you to feel and do certain things that you would not have done if you were not encouraged to do so. Dark patterns makes ads into content. And this all ties into manipulations. Dark patterns uses human psychology to influence a user into acting more on emotion rather than through logic. And this is how they make the money. This is how they make ads into content. This is how they violate trust. This is how they ruin the reputation of every other ad that you watch after a dark pattern ad, because now you're expecting them to constantly be lying to you. The first key term I would like to discuss is forced action. This is when a dark pattern ad pushes pressure onto the viewer of the ad, saying things like, act now before it's gone, or there's only a few left in stock. This puts the viewer in a state of unease, thinking, I'm going to miss out on a great deal if I truly don't act now, when that might not be the case. Of you don't have to act now. There are more than just a few in stock. It's a manipulation tactic. The next key term would be bait and switch. This is a tactic dark patterns use to trick you into buying, downloading, or clicking on something by advertising something better than what they are actually offering. For this example, I used Gossip Harbor. I'm pretty sure everyone has seen this ad where it's a struggling mom and the daughter, and you gotta pull the lever so that the coins go into the girl's jar and you renovate the house. But if you actually download the ad, you'll see it's more like a Candy Crush style game. It's a match game, and if you get enough coins, then you can actually play the game that is advertised. But this is a good example of bait and switch, and I'll use another of this later on in the video, but it is a good example of what this tactic is. Similarly to the bait and switch tactic is the barter system. This is when an ad promises you access to something like a movie or results to a quiz, but it does not advertise to you that you have to subscribe or give your name, your address, your email, your social security number, something, if that makes sense. Um, one example of this, like I said, if you're use like, oh, I just did this 30-minute quiz. I wonder if I could get my it looks so cool on the ad, and like get your results, but you have to subscribe to it. I personally had this happen to me just this last week when I was using Scholarship Owl. I was using it to apply to more scholarships, and I did 30 minutes where I was giving them my SAT scores, my school information, my home information, everything, and they're like, okay, you have 300 matches. And if you look down below to where the arrow goes, when after I clicked apply, it's like, by the way, you have to pay for this. You have to pay for us to do this, and it's monthly, and it's like it's free. It's like, oh, you could always freely cancel it, but that was not previously advertised to me. I did not know this until I had completed a 30-minute process. The next key term I would like to discuss is drip pricing. This is when an ad advertises a product or a service at a lower price than what the user would find if after they go through the transaction process. That's like if you were to buy a computer online. It's like it's a $9.99 computer. You're like, wow, that is such an amazing deal. But as you go through the transaction process, it starts to add up more, and that's because they didn't include shipping price, they didn't include workers free, they didn't include taxes, they didn't include I want your money fees. So by the time you get to the checkout in your Amazon cart, it's like $10,000, and you're like, that is not what was advertised to me. But why do they do this? For the money, honey. Hidden fees are how dark patterns make money. It's how these sketchy sites make money. So for my first real world example, it's a form of dark patterns I didn't previously discuss, but it's confirm shaming, and this is primarily used in advertisement. As you can see on the far left, it's an ad that says, get our latest self-care article sent straight into your index box. And so you have a part where you could put in your email, but if you look below it, it says, nope, I don't care enough. And that is confirm shaming. It is a dark pattern tactic that makes you feel bad about losing out on something. It makes you feel emotions so that it alters your logic. You might not genuinely care about that article, but it's like, I do care enough about myself, so now you feel bad. The same can be said for the biking one at the very bottom. It says, at the email, it says, get rolling, and at below, instead of saying refuse or no thank you, it says, no thanks, I don't want to have more fun on my bikes. And on the far right, you see 20% off sign up and save coupon. And again, it says sign up, get that coupon. But at the bottom, in saying refuse, it says, nah, I like paying full price. It's intentionally guilting you into doing something. So for this slide, I don't want to spend too much time on it because I've already explained the bait and switch tactic in dark patterns, but this example is the game Last Asylum Plague. This again is a game I fell victim to. It was advertised to me as a game where you repel rats and you heal people and you slowly build up a hospital. Basically, it seemed like a relaxing brain rot game. But when I downloaded the app, I then had to realize, no, I have to assemble a team so that they can fight monsters, so that I can get land, so that I can get tools for medicine, and blah, 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 etc. And this was not advertised to me. I was advertised a relaxing, calm game that I could just do in my free time, but it turned out to be a fighting game that involved much more strategy than what I initially wanted to do. So just to wrap up with my final takeaways, dark patterns are an unethical and illegal strategy to get people involved in an app or website via manipulation. This is at the user's or viewer's expense, either financially or through their digital safety. This tactic is not in the public's best interests. It is in the interest of the creator of the advertisement. Dark patterns in advertisements specifically violate the law in place by the Federal Trade Commission as well as the SPJ Code of Ethics. These are all forms of manipulations that lead a viewer or user into doing something they would not have done simply based on emotion rather than logic. Have you ever fallen victim to dark patterns in advertisements before?